Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I'm a relationship hack.
Run up and get touched up, suicide. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail. Run up and get touched up, suicide, that's it. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail. Who you voting for?
Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show back in the building. Oh, I got to do this quickly. This is about to be incredible. We have an august panel in the building. Today's topic is going to be incredible. If you want to participate, you got to get to your phone lines. The number to dial is 844-55-878-4652. That's that ain't 844. Why do I always do that? It's 855-878-4652. I got 8 radio shows. I mixed the numbers up. I'm old. 855-878-4652. You want to participate on today's show. It's going to be crazy. As is commonplace, you know, I like to promote black businesses to recycle black dollars. You know, my good friend has joined us again, Bobby Glanton-Smith. Some boy don't play. He's a man that don't play no games. Go get his book right now, Real Men Don't Play. Go to his website, realmendon'tplay.com. It's very important that you participate. Huh? Where you want him to go, Bobby?
Amazon.
Take him to Amazon. Don't go to his website.
Right.
Go to Amazon to get Bobby's book. Also, I want you guys to support Dr. Mark Goulston. Please get Just Listen. Very important book, one of my favorite books. Even Jeff Brown says he read it. I don't believe it. Also, please support WeJuice, WeJuice.com. This brother comes here, makes these juices. No sugar, no nothing, just straight up juice, right? Go to WeJuice.com. You get a 5% discount if you type in Zo What. Please support that. Kevin, really quickly, Body Boxing Boot Camp, right?
Yes,
That's
Body
what you
Boxing
do, trainer?
Boot Camp. Yes, I have an 8-week program making free to all Zo What listeners. It's booty boxing. You can do the fitness program, shape up your booty while you learn boxing, or you can do the boxing by itself. All the way from learning how to make a fist to 11 punch and kick combinations.
Boy, what's the website? Jesus.
UDE. Get it out, son. UDEMY.com/bootyboxing, and the promo code is bootyboxing0.
Oh, there's your
Spaces
website
in
with
between. Yeah.
a boxing booty. Great.
That's right.
All right. Arise Hospitality. Go to Arise Hospitality and get the same stuff you get from Staples, Office Max, and all of that other stuff. It's a black-owned company. We like to support black businesses because we don't recycle black dollars. Also, Elephant. Go to Elephant. Clothing line. Out of New York. Tailor-made. You get a 20% discount if you type in Zo Williams. Zo what? Hey, man, we just trying to make people spend money with black businesses. I mean, that's how we do. Recycle dollars. Let me just go through it really quickly. You can go to my website, IamZoWilliams.com. Now, I'm done with promoting. We got to get to this topic. This topic is going to be absolutely incredible. Today's topic, a deeper look into the intimate relationship between history, religion, and racism. Before I ask my questions, let me introduce the panel. Bobby G, introduce your good friend who's in the building with us right now. Just go and set him up proper, Bobby.
Well, first of all, you don't have a friend until you need one. I was fortunate enough through the late Dana Davis to meet one of the icons and legendary figures in American history. Better man than he was an athlete, ladies and gentlemen, the great Jerry West.
Jerry West, legendary, in the building. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, also we got my man, Kevin. We already broke it down, booty boxing. Yeah, your booty start boxing, start tripping, right? Go to his website. We got Dr. G. We've got comedian, actor extraordinaire.
Freez Luv, baby. Freezluv. The hip-hop spelling.
There it is. Freez Luv in the building. Jeff Brown is a little late, as is commonplace. This is what he does. But he'll be here. Now, This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump right into the topic, questions, and we're going to get at it. History, racism. Oh, my God. This is a heavy, heavy topic, man. And we're really going to try to uncover some very important things that need to be done here. We'll be back at 2.2. When we come back, get to your phone lines, 855-878-4652. Holla.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poorer care of yourself. That if you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send or coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. You know, as all of you know, I'm kind of an expert in depression and suicide, and there's a site up there that if you can flash that on there from Patreon, because my mission in life is healing the world one conversation at a time. And next week I'm going to present a video about what your teenager wants you to know but won't tell you, and it's going to save some lives. How does this fit in the topic of history, religion, and racism? Well, I think forever the powers that be scapegoat other people rather than connecting and dealing with the pain and hurt of their people. So if they can get all of you to focus on the other person and get all jazzed up about that, they keep you from holding you accountable to helping them with what they need most. And I think history and religion and certainly racism, I think, is the evidence that, if you focus people away from you and you're the responsible party in power, you can probably stay around for another decade before they hang you up by your heels. So I think that's what we're going to cover a little bit.
And there it is, today's topic. We're talking about race and history and religion. And Jerry West summed it up best in the green room when he said, "What in the hell is going on in this world right now?" Jerry, can you talk to us about your experiences, your walk through life, where you've seen a lot of different eras, a lot of different ages, not to put your age out there, but
I'm old.
You've seen a lot. Can you tell us, how is the world drastically different now in terms of race? Because you hear people talking about this post-racial era. I think it's even more racist than it's been in a long time. Can you speak to it?
Well, I think a lot of things happen over a period of time. I can only relate to things that I witnessed in my life when I was growing up, and I never went to school with anyone of color until I was in college. And the one thing that I never understood is how people look at someone and try to judge them based upon race. And it's always, it always seems to be black and white. It's more than that. This is insidious in this country. And, here in Los Angeles, when I first came to Los Angeles, it was a smaller city. We didn't have nearly as much crime, didn't have nearly as many gangs. And my first real experience with racism was my first year in Los Angeles as a basketball player. I had a black roommate, and we were in St. Louis, Missouri, and we were going to play a game there. And I said, the late Ray Felix, who was one of my great friends, he said to me, I said, "Let's go get something to eat for the game tonight." And he said, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't eat in this city." And I said, "What?" And so instead we ate in our room. And so I would always ask him, are there places that you don't want to go for lunch or whatever we're going to have? And I said to myself, how unfair was that? But I knew it growing up in sort of the South. West Virginia was a border state, but I would consider it Southern. That I think some of the atrocities that I read about in the South, which were ridiculous, because people have a right to be treated as humans. Down there, at times, it was like they were treated like animals. And I used to say to myself, I would have even been afraid to go down there myself because of how uncomfortable I felt with that situation. But there was a movie that I saw that was one of the most raw movies, Mississippi Burning. I saw that movie and I said to myself, how in the world can someone, because people are just traveling through a city because of your color, how can someone come in ruin not only their lives, but also almost act like it was an act that should happen.
Right.
I grew up where I unbelievably respected authority, and we had highway patrol, deputy sheriffs that came around. Every time I saw them, I thought they were looking for me, and that's how intimidated I was of the police. But it's gotten to the point today where there were 2 young men killed in Mississippi yesterday. One of them was a 25-year-old black officer, and the other one was a white officer. And I said to myself, my God, why the people that are supposed to protect us get killed, and then all the other things that have been going on are shocking to me. There has to be a better way for police officers, and I have great empathy for them, great. I wouldn't, if somebody offered me $1 billion, I would not take that job. I don't think you can win. But I do think that in communities where there's an enormous amount of minorities in communities, we need a police force that reflects what's in that community, and that they know firsthand what's going on. But I'm on a police board, to be honest with you. It's a police foundation, and all of the officers who have been killed and fallen in their line of duty, we provide schooling and even burial services because they don't cover that if they get killed. And it's a real tragedy for me to have to see when we pay money for these families to give their children, and the devastation it does. And it doesn't matter if it's a person of color or someone white.
Wow.
It's devastating to see, and I'm thankful that this is probably one of the greatest feel-good things in my life, to be asked to be involved with this. It's a wonderful charity, and as I say, I'm thankful that we can help some of the officers that have fallen in the line of duty.
Do you think police across the country need either cultural or sensitivity training? Because as we talked about in the green room, there's a better way to apprehend someone than shooting and killing them. Don't you think?
Yes. I heard something the other day. There was like a 20-foot or 21-foot rule for policemen. If somebody violates that space, then there's going to be a problem. But today, as I mentioned, there seems to be so many flashpoints in this world today. Drugs, all the people that are homeless, the people who have mental problems. As I say, I don't know if there's an answer to it, but it looks like to me that there should be some other way for the police to diffuse situations that are dangerous. And, everyone talks about the person that might be killed, but if you're on the other end, do you ever really recover from that? From
killing?
Yes.
Dr. G? Dr. G, what happens when someone kills someone? You were telling me about this before. Like there's a downtime where the person might even consider killing themselves. You put them on suicide watch, right?
Yeah. No, I've trained hostage negotiators, and I do a role play of a cop that kills an unarmed person, and they have to talk me out of doing away with myself. And I think what happens is it just it kind of haunts you. That what you've done, and a lot of what happens is sort of we do a lot of things in the heat of anger, and we don't think, and then and then we act on it almost like animals, and then we can't live with the consequences. That's why they put people on suicide watch, who after they've committed a murder, because after people get stuff off their chest by giving into the adrenaline rush, they can't live with what they've done because they just see it, and it just keeps coming back to them.
Bobby?
I remember growing up in the South, and Miss Addie Lyons, who's like a surrogate mother to me, told me about vengeance, and because there was a lot of killings all my life. In the city you deal with that, and it becomes too commonplace. And she said, here's one thing about becoming a killer: you might as well dig 2 graves, one for them and one for you, because you have to live with that in ways that the public don't see. And having worked with Jim Brown's American program all these many years, I've been around brothers who've taken lives, and I haven't met a cat yet that didn't have that dark look that has taken a life. And they never discussed that openly, but you wear that jacket the rest of your life, and it impacts your behavior and the quality of your life.
But don't you think when we talk about police brutality, when we talk about police killing blacks, the quick question, or it's racially motivated, right? That's the quick response. But also underneath that is, don't you think there's some kind of desensitization going on with the police? Like this is why the question is, do Black lives matter?
No, they don't. And I'm gonna tell you why. We haven't made them matter. We haven't elevated the value of Black life, and police are human beings too. So when they go home and they watch the news, or they just travel around in communities and they see the interaction between us, and that desensitizes them. One of the big problems that they have here in Los Angeles, and it's probably the same nationwide, particularly in the sheriff's department, the first thing you do as a trainee once you graduate is they send you to the jail. And that's the worst thing they could possibly do, because you see the worst of human behavior in jail. And by the time they hit the streets, sometimes it's 7 or 8 years before they actually get out into the streets. So there's some preconceived notions about who they coming in contact with. And I've been stopped enough times and harassed by police to know there was some assumption. It don't even matter if you got a suit on. So conditioning plays a big part in the interaction between the police and the community, and we have to go back to the training aspect of it. First of all, you need to deal with the physical part of it, because if you've been properly trained, you shouldn't have to pull your gun first thing. You should be able to kick somebody's ass and make that happen before you have to reach for your gun.
I'm gonna tell you, growing up here in Los Angeles, I had a notion on how to deal with the police. I was raised with that. Anytime you pulled over, yes sir, no sir, sir had to be a part of the sentence. I moved to New York at the age of 37. For the last 12 years I'd lived in New York, and the way I treated police was completely out of place. In New York, the police, it seemed like they were more personal. You were dealing with someone who was doing a job, and they let you know that, listen, this is a job. Let's get to the bottom of this. Whereas here, it's almost like a robotic. They just don't even look off pace. They have a certain way that they're going to deal with you, and they are going to deal with you that way. If you get out of line in that matter, you're going to be dealt with another way. And, it very easily could result in shooting you. And that's just the difference. And I don't know what the difference is policing. In New York, it's maybe it's because they deal with so many people. Different kinds of people that they are, from the beginning, taught, listen, you don't know where this person's from. You don't know this person's situation at this time. Put a smile on it first. Enter it like that. You have to, I'm a comedian. I'm going to tell you, a smile goes a long way.
It increases your face value.
So listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to deal with it. We're talking about racism, history, police brutality, religion. I mean, it's a very expansive conversation. We've got a lot of good people in here expounding on it. If you want to, call us, 855-878-4652. A deeper look into the intimate relationship between history, religion, and racism on the So What Morning Show. We'll be back in 2.2.
Thank God today that the greatest mistake that Massa made was introducing us to Jesus. Because I found out where my help. He introduced us to Jesus to keep us in bondage, to keep us in subjection. But we found out something about the Jesus that they used to oppress us, and the Jesus that they used was designed to keep us submissive and keep us satisfied with a less than profitable destiny. We found out that the God who is in Jesus Christ was literally hugging the world back to himself. And we carved out a new vision, new possibilities, so that even though we were not supposed to be where we are today, the Lord has made a way out of no way. And you ought to put your hands together and thank God for every maid. You need to thank him for every butler. You need to thank him for every garbage man. You need to thank him for every person that emptied garbage. You need to thank him for everybody that said yes ma'am and yes sir, and scratch when they wasn't itching and laugh when it wasn't funny. Because they did it, you can stand up here with your bougie black self and act like you're important.
Far, far worse.
I have often been awakened by the dawn of day by the most heart-rendering shrieks of an own aunt of mine, whom he used to tie up to a joist and beat her upon her naked back until she was literally covered with blood. No words, no tears, no prayers from his gory victim seemed to move his iron heart from its bloody purpose. The louder she screamed, the harder he whipped, and where the blood ran fastest, there was hush, and not until overcome by fatigue would he cease to swing the blood-clotted cowskin. I remember the first time I ever witnessed this horrible exhibition. I was quite a child, but I well remember it. It was the first of a long series of such outrages, of which I was doomed to be witness and participant. It struck me with awful force. It was the blood-stained fate, the entrance to the hell of slavery through which I was about to pass. It was the most terrible spectacle. I wish I could commit to paper the feelings with which I beheld it. But to add insult to injury, after receiving their beatings, the slaves would often be treated to readings from Scripture. This just further demonstrates that these horrendous acts were perpetrated by devout believers in the Christian God, who adamantly adhered to Scripture and justified the practice of keeping slaves through Scripture.
Start believing that people should be mistreated, dominated and mistreated based on what color the people are. And that became their strong belief, and the belief became strong because they put that practice into action in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Meaning they took in consideration other people's religions and say, I don't care what your religion is. When the white supremacists show up, you are going to tailor your religion to satisfy our operations. We operate like organized crime, which we are organized criminals. But we muscle people. We make offers that you bet not refuse. I don't care what your other religion is. If your religion is incompatible with the religion of white supremacy, you're going to have to change that part of your religion that is incompatible.
With Napoleon's incursion into northern Africa in the early 19th century, Egypt had finally come back to the white world's attention. While Napoleon's troops were busy giving the Sphinx a nose job, Francois Champollion, a fellow Frenchman, was deciphering the hieroglyphs. Both Champollion and Count de Volney attested to the Egyptians having been Africans. At this time, not even one European or Arab said the Egyptians were white, but then again, Champollion and de Volney were not racialists. Unfortunately, it wasn't long after France reminded the white world of Egypt's glory that the white supremacists from the U.S. and Britain rushed to Africa. The white world hadn't taken an interest in Egypt since the time of the Romans, and the Europeans had never cared about Egypt at all. So why the sudden interest? What had changed? What had changed was that there was now a white supremacy myth that was the flimsy glue holding the white world together, and these twisted minds converging on Africa realized that myth was about to come undone. But the white revisionists had one major advantage: the public's ignorance. Black Egypt was merely common knowledge in the global mind, not an established fact. Since mass production of books didn't exist yet, the public had no specific pictures of the Egyptians' own artwork or translation of their writings to attach blackness to. It would be no problem for the revisionists to get the white academic world behind them. After all, the doctrines of black inferiority came from white universities.
But the main thing you need to understand now is that the people in charge of your genocide and your cultural demise are word masters. And what makes them a word masters is because they tell you that you can't make up words, but they've been making up motherfucking words for 500 to 600 fucking years. Here's an example of the categories that we fall under when it comes to white supremacy, racism, and religion. People always say the word American African and African American. I choose the word American African because you'll be amazed. The whole planet comes from Africa. The whole damn planet comes from Africa. You need to look up a man named Robert Leakey. Robert Leakey tells us, this is a white man, that says every tribe, everybody, every butt, ass, and titty came from Africa, whether you like it or not. So black people, you ain't the only Africans in the world. But they are trying to get rid of us because we are the source of all Africans on this planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show is back. We're talking about racism. We're talking about religion. the history that binds racism and religion together. We're just talking about what's happening in the world today, and it's a lot going on. We need to fix the planet, right? And so we put together this little panel to throw out some ideas and some concepts and really have some straight talk, right? A lot of people are afraid to have straight talk. One thing they don't want to talk about is religion. They don't want to talk about politics. And now race is becoming a taboo topic, even though it's popping up everywhere, right? We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to recontextualize how we interface with each other. We have to, if we're going to survive. Now, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a certain degree. And I believe that the media plays a role in hyping up the war, you know. I believe that they're trying to get a race war off the ground. I believe that. Bobby?
Well, first thing as a remedy is take they out of the equation. I've been blessed to, over the last, well, it's approaching 3 years now, just talk to this man right here about life. And we have some in-depth conversations, and it's raw because he's sometimes amazed, and I am too, that we're the only people having that kind of discussion where we honestly talk about the distinctions and the similarities between people. I don't look at Jerry as black or white, and that's a saying that people say all the time, but it's bullshit. But he done proved to me that he blacker than most black folks I know. And I mean that honestly, man, because he looks at the world and he calls it like he see it. And sometimes I agree with him.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I don't. And I told Jerry about a month ago, I said, Jerry, the reason I want you to participate in it, even with real men, is because the world needs to see, America needs to see that there are people who treat other people like people first. And they don't get that narrative because the media doesn't cover it, and we don't compel the media to cover life from that vantage point.
You know, you're in all honesty, I think there's a lot more of these conversations that you and Jerry have. There's a lot more, but they aren't highlighted because the media isn't highlighting. Why are they not highlighting? Because there's no money there. You understand? The media's job is to make money. I'm sorry. That's what they do. And you think you say, well, how could they make money over a black and white confrontation? The same way they make money over any confrontation.
You know,
it's the rebuilding when they come in. After everything is torn up. Right. Everything's torn up and everything is burnt and everything. Now comes the payoff when you rebuild this stuff that everyone tore up.
Yeah, I'm going to build on something Bobby just said about the conversations he and Jerry have been having. I'd bet that the reason you have those conversations and the reason that you cannot just listen to each other but consider what the other person says is because you respect and feel respected by each other. I think that's a key, that when you respect someone and feel respected by them, you're willing to not just listen to what they're saying, but actually take it in and consider it. I've been doing some interviews about what's the missing link in listening, and I think the key is people will not consider what they've heard, because if you really consider something, you might have to change what you think, and a lot of people are unwilling to change what they think.
But again, America's biggest problem, first off, let's just keep it in mind. The rest of the world sees America as opportunity. This is a place where something can happen for me. I don't know what, but something better than where I'm at. But America's biggest wound is racism. So my question to the entire panel is, how do you defeat that ideological social construct that keeps people separated and keeps people at each other's neck? Bobby? Jeff, late ass?
Well, first, I don't think that, I think we all get into looking at race as this black or white thing, and it isn't. Race is the flaming hand over here, while this hand is really doing the bullshit. Yep. Okay? Race, in the words of Tim Wise, 600 years ago, there's no such thing as race. White folks would just kill their neighbors, okay? Which is basically, there's no such thing as black on black crime. That's just niggas killing niggas next door.
Oh, here we go.
What really needs to be looked at is how we're trying to make the water better in this dirty glass. I don't care what I don't care what your favorite dish is. If I run my finger across my dog's butthole and run it across the bottom of the plate before I put the food on,
you've ruined the plate.
You ruined the plate. So we got to clean the plate first. We have to be honest about the fact that racism is a tool to keep the very rich here and the very poor there.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Would you say that racism for black people hypersensitive about racism, and for white people a little bit too nonchalant about it, a little blind about it?
Well, not blind, ignoring.
Indifferent
because it's.
We've got Veronica too. Let Veronica jump in on this.
Fault. Can I just say this?
Say this, and then I want to go to. Oh, Jerry's got something too.
White folk in the middle. It is not our fault that you don't want to look at what your ancestors did.
Wow.
Well, yeah,
Jerry?
Let me jump on that after that.
All right, and after Jerry, you come in, and I'm bringing Veronica too.
I would address one other thing. If you guys read about history a lot, racism is not always about white and black. But I think that is the most sensitive in this country. And I think we have to be very careful. And if you go back and listen or read about what happened to in Second World War to the people that were second generation Japanese living in this country.
Yes.
And I think the repatriation was $25,000 to these people who were farmers, and this land was worth millions of dollars, the Hispanics. But in Los Angeles, we speak over 100 different dialects of language here, okay? And you cannot tell me that people, I think because racism among white and blacks is so much older than this younger generation that has moved into this country, I think it's a theme for a lot of races. And if you will talk to other races, I think you will see that they, at times, feel like they're
being discriminated against.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the one last point I'd like to make, the social media has driven this to maybe the worst I've seen in a long time. Forget the newspaper.
Whips it right up.
Yeah.
Well, and you'll have there's no compromise. You're either on one side or on the other side. There's no compromise. And to get to anywhere in this world, you have to have compromise. How can we diffuse a situation that makes me feel very uncomfortable? And I know because the predominant amount of people in this room are black, I know how you feel about it, and you're trying to help solve a problem that, if we're not careful, keeps stirring this up. We need to make peace. I just read a book recently about Crazy Horse, okay? It was really amazing. Here, the government promised them that they would let them have this land so they could live on, and the government never lived up to their promise, okay? So this goes back centuries, and obviously when people are put in, to me, every slave that came into this country, they were incarcerated. They were incarcerated. They weren't migrant workers, but the first migrant workers in this country were Italians. And I'm not so sure if people know that, but it would really help if people would go back and read history and try to, regardless of what race you are, try to look at it. But there's so many ugly things, and particularly in the South, that I can't believe people could do what they did to other people.
Wow.
Right.
Kevin?
So, like what Jeff was saying, like to me, well, not even to me, race is, to me, not to me, it is just a big scam, because there's only one race, which is the human race, and everybody else are just pedigrees of the same race. So the propaganda of racism is, like Zoe was saying, it's mass distraction. They throw that out to you so they can do some other stuff over here, and they get you all hyped up about black and white. Now, as Jeff was saying, white people need to own up to the past. As you know, I've said before on this show, black people started that. I mean, we started slavery. We actually started racism. So
historically speaking,
yes.
a lot of people don't know this.
They don't know, and we were involved in slavery far longer than white people, or so-called white people. And so from the ancient times, if you figure that there's only one race, if everybody came out of Africa, at some point in time, you had to have some white people born in Africa. And there's different documentaries about this as well. That
Ivan Van Sertima talks about the pink men that came out of Africa.
And even right now, and you have albinism in
He said,
Africa,
well, look at Jerry. He's a pink man right now.
They ridicule.
He's been just like a brother.
I was going to say that. I was going to bring that up. I was like, man, that's hot.
But no, they ridicule people who are born with albinism now in Africa. They ridicule these people. And, they're born complete. They have African features, big lips, big noses, but they have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Blonde, kinky hair.
Sounds like my family.
And so they get ridiculed. And you figure this goes all the way back to ancient times to where this is why they had to migrate out of Africa and move to colder climates. First of all, because their albinism skin, they couldn't take the heat, so they had to move to cooler climates. And then from those cooler climates, the noses get thinner, the lips get thinner. So we're all literally one race. The people who run this shit and perpetuate the propaganda on TV know that. And this is why they'll put that shit out to you, because once race died down, it was real calm, and then all of a sudden you see some young college kids saying that there'll never be a nigga ASC, and then right after that, and then some more shit. I mean, it literally started happening like a stack of dominoes. A snowball.
Yeah.
That's not an accident.
Right.
So
wait a minute. Let's get Veronica in and get her point, and then Mark Goulston. Veronica, the only female voice here. We need the female voice of reason. Speak on it.
Okay, so I always say that you either have results or you have reasons. And what we're experiencing today, I think we get confused. I think white folks get confused about what their real religion is. I don't think that white religion is Judaism. I don't think it's Christianity. I think that the white religion is white supremacy, white aggression, and white genocide. Because if you look at the results that white people get all over the planet, it usually involves the annihilation of black and brown people. So instead of focusing, when we talk about issues of race, we tend to focus on, media focuses on black pathology. But I think at a certain point, we're going to have to focus on white pathology and the mental illness that is white supremacy and white aggression that justifies the murder of people globally so that it can have more condominiums. I think we got to get real about the root.
That was heavy. Bobby?
Pathology is pathology, and at some point, I have to deal with my own situation foremost. The greatest threat right now to me as a person is not white folks. It's people who look like me. I see them every day, and they look at me like I will take your life for nothing. That's my immediate concern. Now, the other pathology she talk about, that's undeniable, indisputable. But what's the immediate threat? For me, is my people and what they think of themselves, and therefore what they think of me.
But that's part of the reason of this conversation. We've got to get inside that human mind and uproot that ancient, dilapidated, outdated belief system that said we were inferior. Because that's what racism is about, is to create a superior versus an inferior.
I was going to save this for the rant, but I think it's just apropos.
You just talking while I'm talking?
I'm sorry.
Next time, be on time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I think what we're all trying to avoid here is what it's time for. The mass bloodshed, mass change, mass overturn is due. This universe is pregnant 12 months with this. This media push, this people push, sadly, it is going to happen, and it is necessary. And it is not necessary from our end. This is necessary because the only thing that an aggressor truly respects is equal or greater aggression.
Wow.
Take this from somebody who used to get their lunch took until they learn how to fight. There is no concept of appealing to the humanity of someone who doesn't show any.
Now, what you gonna do with your rant? Listen, we got to take a quick break, but before we go, I just want to thank Jerry West for taking the time out to share.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Bobby, for bringing him through. Listen, Bobby, your event is Wednesday. Tell the listeners right now how they can connect with you on Wednesday at LA Live, right?
Yeah. Because of Jerry's generosity and the support of other corporate sponsors, I've got a few seats left for the public. So you can reach me at Bobby at Real Men Don't Play if you're in the greater Los Angeles area. An Evening with Real Men is going to be a testosterone-filled evening. So all you ladies out there that say, where are the real men at? They're going to be at the Clive Davis Theater, Grammy Museum, L.A. Live, 6 o'clock Wednesday evening.
And once again, Bobby, you brought Jerry to the Beverly Hills game to see my son play. And I learned so much about basketball just watching him critique those kids play, man. I just appreciate you coming and supporting my son and all of his endeavors. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you, and good luck to your son.
Thank you. He's got a week, and he'll be down at Auburn with Bruce Pearl. So that's what's happening. Senior graduation, about a week, down to Auburn. So thanks again.
Move down there?
That's where he's going. I'm not going down there.
Auburn, Alabama. I've been there a lot.
We appreciate it, though. Listen, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, the rest of the topic, man, it's going to get even crazier. We'll be back at 2.2.
Earth, where the spirit children would be sent to take on mortal bodies and learn good from evil. Lucifer stood and made his bid for becoming savior of this new world. Wanting the glory for himself, he planned to force everyone to become gods. Opposing the idea, the Mormon Jesus suggested giving man his freedom of choice, as on other planets. The vote that followed approved the proposal of the Mormon Jesus, who would become savior of the planet Earth. Enraged, Lucifer cunningly convinced 1/3 of the spirits destined for Earth to fight with him in revolt. Thus, Lucifer became the devil and his followers the demons. Sent to this world, they would forever be denied bodies of flesh and bone. Those who remained neutral in the battle were cursed to be born with black skin. This is the Mormon explanation for the Negro race. The spirits that fought most valiantly against Lucifer would be born into Mormon families on planet Earth. These would be the lighter-skinned people, or white and delightsome, as the Book of Mormon describes them.
I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
It will become. Crosby committed the unpardonable sin. He looked at black people and said, you need to help yourselves. You need to stop this kind of behavior, stop this kind of behavior. You need to pay more attention to your children. You need to make sure they're raised better, that they're prepared, that you raise them in a way so they're ready to benefit from education when they go to school. All of these things are responsibility. You need to turn off that mindless music that is corrupting and distracting. So you need to, and he said all these things that he thought black people ought to and should do for themselves. Well, he's now in the territory of the black conservative. He's now in the territory of people like myself, like Thomas Sowell, and so many others who have looked at the sacred cow of black responsibility and said, that's not racism. That's freedom. The way to equality, the way to opportunity is through our own responsibility. And of course, all the powers that be then came down on Mr. Crosby, a ton of bricks, and shut him up and go back to, again, as I say, all my critics, all Crosby's critics, all critics of blackness, all of them will do one thing and one thing only. They run back to the church of racism. They love racism. They roll around in racism as though it were money, and it very often is money. They love it. If white people stopped being racist, they wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know who they are.
Yep.
Wow.
That's real.
Jeez. So we were taken off guard a little bit with the arrival of Jerry West. We didn't know that he was going to be here today, but we definitely wanted to get him on camera to get some of his ideas and concepts about racism.
Well, it's Jerry West.
Today's topic, again, is a deeper look into the intimate relationship between history, religion, and racism. And as you saw in one of the previous videos, we showed the Book of Mormon's history in cartoon form, right? And, you know, their concept of how the black race was created. And racism is very subtle because it's ideological. So you see the angels who didn't follow Jesus, or the good angels who remained neutral, those angels turned black. And if you watch that video again, not only did they turn black, after they turned black, because they remained neutral, they didn't choose a side, Lucifer or Jesus, they turned black, and then they start frowning because they black. Then the ones who chose Jesus were white and delightful, and then they start smiling. So, again, when we talk about racism, the purpose of this show was to outline how religion plays an incredible role in terms of creating a concept, an antithetical us against you, black against white concept. Star Trek has a great episode. Remember that classic episode of Star Trek with the people on it that were fighting each other, and one half was white and the other half was black on their face, and then they were fighting each other, but their faces were reversed. He was like, oh, I'm better than him because the white side is on my left. His white side is on his right. These are degenerates, right? And they had these arguments going back and forth. It's a game. It's a construct. What racism is the conduit to is classism.
That's it.
This is the real shit. This is how you get the middle class whites who are also in the same boat as black people to choose sides because you white. You needed racism to get them on your side, but they're not in your class.
No.
Speak on it, Doc.
How much of racism you think is otherism? And otherism is if they're other, then they're different. If they're different, then they're not predictable. If they're not predictable, then I got to make sure that I'm going to control them, or they're going to control me. And it would seem that again, that's a way of perpetuating the not being accountable to your own people. Let's direct them. Let's scapegoat them towards the others. I mean, I was thinking of the relationship Jeff and I have developed, because you know we developed this relationship where.
What relationship? Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, one of the things I really treasure is you say when the
Jeff is a
revolution
monkey
comes,
doctor.
No,
that was racist.
No, but when he
Go ahead.
When the revolution comes, he's going to hide me in the basement.
Wow.
No,
go ahead, Doc.
But I think we were. I knew Yuzo before I knew him, and I think what happened is as you get to know someone, then I'm not so much the other than unpredictable. I got to make sure that I get them before they get me, and I think religion, all that stuff, and racism is a way of perpetuating the otherism to deflect people's attention towards the other instead of, you and they working something out.
Veronica, Conway, and then Jeff, and then Kevin. Jesus.
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes, we have to really go back to Francis Cresswell's the ISIS papers if we really want to understand the source of this stuff. Understand that, and believe me, I back this up and I validate this, because sometimes I will look at white nationalist sites like Stormfront and, these movements that they're having about back to Europe and all this stuff. Francis Cresswell said that the racism is basically predicated on the fear of, on European fear of genetic annihilation. In other words, the reason that racism fundamentally exists and is perpetuated and is monetized the way that it is because it's basically about the fear of keeping the black man from fucking. Because if black people and white people get together, in a few years, a few generations, whiteness will fundamentally cease to exist. So it really does fundamentally come down to sex at its root, and that's, I mean, Dr. G said otherism, but I think that there's a deep white pathology and neurosis about the interbreeding of the races, because whiteness fundamentally ceases to exist after a few generations. I think we can't be in this discussion until we get to the root.
Jeff?
Oh, well, you're not going to find no argument for me on that one. Rest in peace to my man James Hanna. He said it a little cruder than that.
What did he say, Jeff?
He said that this is about big black dick. That's what all this is about. Is that if brothers were hung less, we wouldn't be having this problem. I tend to believe that, of course, it's about fear, but I think we're really dealing with racism a lot deeper than it needs to be dealt with.
Yes.
I think what really needs to be dealt with is the people that keep racism in play. When you say the media is perpetuating this, Zoe, I got 135%. I agree with you, because what we don't understand is that there is a cauldron of shit going on.
Here we go.
There's a cauldron. There's the babies being raped. There's all kind of crazy mess. What happens is the media reaches into this cauldron of shit and picks out which turds it wants to present you. So when you see this ramping up for this race war, it is because these are the chosen stories by the people who are trying to puppet this whole thing. Yes. And what they really don't want to have happen is have white folks figure out, well, I'll say that for the rant.
Well, I just think if you want to end all of this stuff, you just have to start caring about people. People are not caring about each other. Until we start truly caring about each other, we are going to have problem after problem after problem.
True.
We have to care. You have to care about the next person, period.
Right. But you have to remove all the bullshit, the propaganda that's put in the way that keeps you from caring. Like Zoe said, it's more about classism. It's always been that way since beginning civilizations. You want to go back to one that's known more, even in Rome, you had the nobles, you had the plebiscites who were the middle class, and then you had the slaves. Mm-hmm. And the plebiscites and the slaves were pretty much on the same keel. So, that's pretty much how you have it today. The reason you have racism, or the way it's perpetuated or put out there the way it is today, because when slavery was going on, when they understood that during slavery that they couldn't keep all these black people enslaved physically. There would have to be another way to do it, and so they felt that religion, or taking control of the mind through religion, was the way to do it. So after they freed a lot of these slaves, they sent missionaries to go to them to go try to change them, convert them to Christianity. Also, they sent a lot of missionaries to the indigenous land to try to convert them. And so that's where you get all this the religion comes from. And also religion, the root word of religion means to bind fast. Or
Tie
quickly.
me up.
So it's literally about locking you up. It's about prison. And so
if the word religion, reunify, if you look at it as a unification, if spiritually, I'm serious. If you look at it spiritually, all the religions are one. The only thing that changes from religion to religion is the stuff that is when it comes to humanity, when it deals with man, the spirituality.
Right. All the religions deal with the same word.
So if we focus on the spirituality, you understand? I mean, because if you look at race, the color of your skin, the whole genetic makeup of it is only 1% contributes to the color of your skin. 1% of your DNA makes what color you're going to be.
Right.
But so if you look at that, take away that 1%, 99% of us are all 99% alike.
That's true.
Spiritually, we got to focus on caring about each other's soul, man. I don't want you to hurt my children. But I don't want to hurt your children. I don't want your children to be hurt.
Here's my problem.
You know what I'm saying? We have to look at that more often.
You talking to Okay.
You're talking to a soulless planet.
Okay,
to be honest.
You don't have to, and I'm gonna make this personal. You don't have to get me, you don't have to convince me to respect Mr. and Mrs. Farmer. True. You don't have to get me to respect you as a man, because I already do. If I don't, depending upon my level of disrespect, conversation is not going to get it. So the concept of we need to be to this place of love, absolutely. But that place of love is 98 yards down the field.
Let me just say this, crew. This is what we need to understand. Where there is a pursuit and a maintenance around power, there is no love.
No.
When you got motherfuckers who are in pursuit of the power, and then once they get the power,
maintaining it,
are spending most of their resources maintaining it, listen, this is when religion becomes a lie. This is when religion becomes history. History's already a lie. And this is when history becomes propaganda. So when I see, when you see affluent blacks, they don't want to deal with none of that. They don't want to deal with none of that. They just want to deal with what is the best way to cope in a broken system. What is the best way to live a good life in hell? You have to say in hell, because there has to be a dead part of your soul that will cause you to say, that's none of my business. What's happening where I came from? Like, down over there, that's none of my business.
Right.
There gotta be a dead portion of your soul that caused you to look the other way.
I worked my ass off to make this none of my business.
You know, I bust my ass to get to where I am today.
None of my business, absolutely.
How much of a problem you think there is? In Veronica way, it seems like people have shifted into being more interested in having and getting than interested in each other. It all comes down to being interested in what can I get, what can I have. It's interesting, my book, Listening, I get requests to teach listening all around the world, but they say, but Americans want to be listened to. Americans, it's un-American to listen if you're an American.
Woo!
If you're an American,
damn.
If you're
it's
an American,
un-American to listen.
It is.
Okay, we got to take a break on that shit. Wow. I want you to marinate, and we'll be back in 2.2 seconds. We're talking about culture, religion, history, racism, all the bullshit that's got us anchored to mediocrity. Could you a little happy with the mic? God damn you, Chris. I'll be back in 2.2 minutes, nigga.
Okay. Here's what nobody wants to really, really touch. It's the huge elephant in the room. I touched on it earlier. This will end badly. In the words of the dude from Malcolm in the Middle in the wheelchair. This will end badly. There's not going to be any butterflies and Easter grass conclusion to this. There are way too many disillusioned goobers. There are way too many walking around asleep black people as a byproduct of welfare and Jim Crow and daddy's leaving and destruction of the family, which equals what you hear in music. This is all one big nasty ball that is not going to be undone without mass violence and bloodshed. Mass. Huge. Put that with the collapse of the dollar. This is a big cauldron that the powers that be are standing over cooking. And we are in the pot trying to figure out how to get out. Now, I want you to think about a pot of, have you ever looked at a pot of beans?
Yes, Jeff.
Think about a pot of black beans. Maybe let's just say there's 3,000 black beans in there. Bean number 1,468 and bean number 1,331 have absolutely no chance of getting out of the pot and turning off the gas. Okay? They're not.
Every week, it's one of these fucking analogies.
Does it make sense that way? Okay.
Reverend Bob sells shoes.
Bob sells shoes, dog.
That's like me answering a question with a question. Go ahead.
What has to happen first, and sadly, I'm going to address my people quickly.
Really quickly.
The definition of a sucker is a person, place, or thing that respects another person, place, or thing more than that person, place, or thing respects itself. So if we could find a way to somehow birth respect for ourselves, you would be amazed at how the world would come to our aid. But no one in the world wants to be a sucker when niggas are killing niggas, and niggas are treating niggas bad, and no one wants to help you because you don't help yourself. And you better start helping yourself, because guess what? The white goobers that I spoke of before, they ready. They ready. Go to a gun show. Go to a gun show. You will see them gearing up. Black people, you need to strap your boots on, because some shit's going to happen.
Jeff, can you be specific about help yourself? Because you'll say this, you got to help yourself.
Absolutely.
But give us some specific things that people can do.
Here's what help myself means. Help myself means to, as black people, abandon the concept of voting in politics until you can afford to buy politicians. We don't have. How you gonna be trying to win a horse race when you don't own any of the horses? You don't win. You just kind of bet, and you may take a little money.
They're end users.
Yes.
I'm sitting here typing on the computer, but I don't know what the fuck is going on in the CPU.
No, I have no idea.
I'm an end user. Fucks.
Absolutely.
Veronica, let's get her in. Jesus, we need to hear her voice. Speak on it, V.
It's interesting. When you talk about studying warfare and revolution, you have to understand that the first thing that one has to do if one wants to really go in and eliminate people is they have to engage in psychological warfare. So the psychological warfare that exists in this country and on the planet, by definition, diminishes. The more melanation that you have, the more it diminishes you, right? The more you're trained that black ain't shit. The more that you're trained that black men aren't anything. I mean, the programming and the conditioning that comes out of the television box and all of the media and all the hip hop, all that's real. It's real programming. It's real conditioning, because you can't effectively justify going after and eliminating a bunch of people unless you train the population that their lives aren't valuable.
Right.
So we don't believe our lives are valuable, and white folks don't believe our lives are valuable, and so it seems
they're not valuable.
Natural.
Yeah, it's not valuable.
Well, I wanted to say something about what Veronica said earlier about how white people are they're scared that they're going to be wiped out on the planet, and definitely to an extent she's right. A lot of white people's fear come today from something that was created in the early 1900s. It's called social Darwinism and eugenics. And so social Darwinism, Darwin theory of evolution. But there was a philosophy that he had also called social Darwinism, that the strong people in the civilization should survive. So back in the day, you understand the black people were the weak people, white people were the strong people. And so this was a doctrine that pervaded.
Back in the day?
Well,
Which day?
Hold on, Pimp.
Hold
on now.
What I mean is back when he created this philosophy.
They'll be all on your head on YouTube talking crazy.
When he created this philosophy. I don't care. But when they created this philosophy, and also his cousin created eugenics. And so eugenics was basically wiping out people who they felt weren't as strong. And that also was...
And of course, Margaret Sanger was a part of the cousin's eugenics movement,
right?
And she was the founder of Planned Parenthood,
yes,
which is all based on a felonious science that says, oh, by looking at the skull of this here person, that they're scientifically inferior.
Yes, it was all pseudoscience, and basically shown to be bullshit. But this was, I mean, it was a big thing in the early 1900s. It was funded by the Carnegie Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Harriman Railroad Foundation.
You're saying something really big here. Look how powerful a lie is. Just when you look at brothers and sisters today, how we walk around, how we dress, the way we present ourselves as successful. I'm not talking about thugs.
Right.
I'm talking about so-called high-end blacks.
Right.
Yeah, the Bartholomews.
The Morehouse the Morehouse along line of like philanthropists.
Speak on it.
The problem with the average street Negro is he doesn't know how to pull himself up by his bootstraps.
His bootstraps are very loose. They're gangly. Right? So,
yes. So
again, it's almost like when I see brothers and sisters who are considered to be successful, they look out of their minds. They look insane.
Yeah.
They have concepts and ideas like, well, it's better to have married and divorced than to have not done it at all. What? Just to go through the process?
Yeah.
The fuck?
That sounds like something the woman said.
But no, but I'm just saying, like, every so-called societal benchmark is to be pursued, is to be achieved, is to be acquired, and if you don't have that,
you ain't shit.
Something wrong with you.
Yep, you not shit.
Do you understand? It is a type of insanity to want to integrate into a system that is not designed for your overall happiness. And I'm talking about your spiritual development either. That's where it's going to come from. That's where happiness comes from.
Right.
So if the system is not congruent with your spirit, but you're constantly trying to achieve the benchmarks that have been labeled as successful,
that's right.
You can get all that shit and still be empty than a motherfucker.
Can I give this website?
Yes.
So Veronica, she was talking about how they're scared that they won't be on the planet. So I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the show. There's this thing called the International Federation of Pigment Cell Societies, who come together every 3 years and they talk about the melanocyte cell, what it can do, the different properties.
Cost $600, right?
Cost $600 to go. Anybody can go. They'll actually.
Are these black people doing this?
No,
exactly.
There's actually out of all the nations involved in the International Federation of Pigment Cell Societies, there are no African nations involved in this.
And why are they studying?
Because first of all, they're understanding the properties of melanin and what it can do. It's a superconductor. When you
why they even give a damn?
Why do they even give a damn? Well,
what the fuck they looking into melanin for?
Because they have none. Well, they don't have no abundance of it as we do. They do have melanin. They have.
Why is melanin important?
Why is melanin?
Yeah, I just keep asking the question. Just keep asking the questions.
Well, let me get this website that people can go check this melanin research out. It's called tightrope.it or IT. /Nikolaus, Nico.
Niklaus?
Yeah, Niklaus.
Niklaus.
Let me say the damn. NICOLAUS/index.htm. Now that's where the Federation publishes all of its findings on on melanin research. You can go there, and it's a crazy, massive website. It's a hard read, but trust me, if you go through it, you'll see different things like. They have a melanated scientist in the book, and they're saying they have a picture of space next to the scientist, and they're saying that there's something called black matter in space, and they're saying that the black matter in space and the melanin in this guy's body are the exact same thing.
Shit.
It's the exact same thing.
Now the dark matter, they're saying dark matter because that's another term for it.
Yes.
They said fucking empty space. It's made up of fucking
dark matter.
They say 99 whatever point percentage of dark matter. And from the dark matter, all matter manifests itself. This is where the black hole gets its start.
Absolutely.
What?
And it's the same stuff that's in melanated people's skin.
That's why James Brown music sounds so good too.
That's why Michael Jackson is motherfucking Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Now somebody was disappointed with me the other day because I was given an example in response to Dr. G, when Dr. G was saying that black people are afraid in some way of white people. And I was saying, no, black people are not afraid of white people. And I gave an example of a time in which I was raised. And we used basketball, right? Okay. Remember back in the day, playing hoop? And it's even now. Right. But it's a little different now than it was back then. Back then, there was no white people running around dunking on niggas. It was considered an anomaly. When you saw, what's my man Chambers? Tom Chambers from Phoenix? that was an anomaly. Yes. When we saw Tom Chambers take off and put his knees in somebody's chest, we said, well, goddamn, that's got to be Jesus. It's got to be Jesus, because white people don't do shit like that. We just didn't know. But I was giving the example because typically black men in general, whether they're subjected to white men, they always feel they're better than white men. Am I lying? Am I lying? In general, black men, the way we look at ourselves, we look at white men and go, I'll whoop your fucking ass. That is Am I bullshitting?
Back in the day, you used to, you know what? Before you really fight a white boy, you used to smack him on the face so you could see your whole hand. That's because you're like, pow. And now we start fighting. That's true. That's true. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm from Chicago. Did you smack him first?
And just like my brother said here, in terms of society, he said we need developers, not end users. We need developers.
Yeah.
We need somebody to go in and write software, not download it.
Yes.
So you think you just going to walk into the computer program room and start writing software? No. You're going to have to, by force, get the motherfucker that's in the computer room out. And that's what this all
I'm telling you right now, you can't use religion as a form of history because history is a lie.
Yes.
So by definition, if you're using religion as your base for history, you're lying to yourself because Napoleon already told us what it was for. Lawrence Gardner, the writer of The Lord of the Rings and the Holy Grail Kings, already said what the aristocracy uses history for. It is propaganda. It is to promote a lie. It's to propagate a lie. It is to proselytize a lie.
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't know it, don't get mad at us because we want to smack you in the mouth with it. Dragon Moore gonna hit you in the mouth with it whether you like it or not.
Thank you.
Now we gotta take a quick break. We'll be back at 2.2.
Tell me what it says.
When the Lord thy God
Yes.
bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Now check this out now. This is supposedly God speaking to the Israelites. And it says, when God brings you into the land to possess it, what are you going to do?
And have cast out many nations before thee.
Now, God is going to get rid of the people that's already there. Y'all got this? Think of Columbus and the Native Americans, for example. Okay? I mean, this is like God saying to Columbus, when I take you to the shores of America and cast out the inhabitants that are already there before you. Go ahead.
The Hittites.
Now, the names of the people that she's about to read are all descendants of the biblical black dude.
Right.
Who's the biblical black dude? Ham, right? Okay? Now, the names that she's reading now are the descendants of Ham. Not Shem or Japheth, but Ham. Right? What are these names again? Go ahead. The Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. All of these are black nations. Allegorically speaking, they're still black nations. You got me? Go ahead, read.
7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Now that's some deep stuff. The Bible is actually saying these black folk are greater than y'all are. It's actually saying that. These black folk are better than y'all are. They're greater than y'all are. They're more intelligent than y'all are. Okay? You know, that whatever they got it. But yet, I'm going to drive them out so that y'all, Israelites, can have their land. Go ahead.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee,
yes,
thou shalt smite them.
Now this is some deep stuff. These black folk haven't done nothing to these people. But yet the Bible Bible says, told you racism in the guise of religion. The Bible says that these Israelites, God is going to send them in to kill them. What else?
Thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
Sound like Iraq, don't it? Sound like exactly what this country is doing in Iraq right now. Smite them, destroy them. What else?
Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
Don't make no covenant with them.
Nor show mercy on them.
Don't even show them any mercy. What kind of God is this?
Here we go. We back. Freez was saying, go ahead, make that point, Freez.
No, what I was saying about when you start talking about, you know, the Bible or the Quran, all of this stuff, the stuff that changes, like I said, is the social teachings, the stuff that involves man. And that's because that's when he puts his hand in it. That's when he says, oh, I'm going to take the scriptures, or I'm going to take the gospel, and now I'm going to put my twist on it. That's why you got so many versions of the Bible, so many versions of these holy books. It's because they become outdated and outdated and outdated. If you want to know the truth, you have to find it for yourself. You have to independently investigate the truth. That's what I will say.
Well, no, go ahead.
Shit. I've said this before. Remember back in the day when we used to have the overhead projector, like
Yes.
you had the transparent thing, and it would shoot the light up. If you could take the big three, the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible, and you could lay them on top of each other, so that you could see on the wall, love your neighbor, don't kill, protect your family, respect your body, all of the good stuff. That is spirituality. That's in the inside, and it's on all of them, and all those letters lay on top of each other. All this shit on the outside, First Sunday, Usher Board, chicken dinners in the back, all that's religion. That's religion.
Usher Board.
The real
if I'm sitting here with a Jew and a Muslim, and I'm a so-called Christian, which by the way I'm not, we all love our sons. We all love our daughters. We all inherently have a piece of good in us. You get pimped by the shit on the fringe.
Woo! Smacky doodle, Veronica, and then Kevin.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You gotta peep it in its most essential form.
Did she just say
You gotta peep it. You heard what she said. Peep
I love
this.
Veronica Conway. You better watch yourself.
Got that
pretty
fly
girl.
ass 90s slang. You gotta peep it. You understand?
Damn grown ass woman. Go ahead.
Speak on it, VC.
I love it. You gotta peep it though. Listen. Back in slavery, they whooped your black ass 6 days a week.
Drapetomania.
And they gave you Jesus on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now why?
Mind control.
Why?
Mind
because
control.
it's a form of control. In other words, black people are very spiritual people. We have a direct connection to God. But in order to hijack our spirituality and turn it against ourselves, so that we were infinitely controllable, right? You had to whoop our ass all week long and then tell us that blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus was superior to us. That's the biggest trick ever played on humanity, is that one right there.
But see, and this is why I say it's so fucking important. My man, Freez Luv, said, people have got to care.
Right.
If you don't care about lying, you damn sure not gonna care about people, because typically you lie to people, right? Damn. If you don't give a fuck about lying, so now why are you lying? See, we start drilling down.
All lies.
What you lying for?
Because they don't want your Dragon Moore ass coming back in
No,
power.
no. That was powerful what you said. All lies connect to fear.
I've never heard one today.
So
Fear.
look at a kid. You know he fucked up. But he's going to lie. Why? So he can protect himself. He knows you know that he fucked up. Hey, why you do that shit? What was you doing?
Shout out to my son Blakey.
And, exactly. Nothing. I don't know. Right? and what happened was it was what's his name had came. And then
what's the name of them?
When they came, then that's what happened.
Talk about a drawn out, convoluted story.
But you understand what I'm saying? So lying is connected to self-preservation and self-protectiveness. So, what you protecting the truth, right? Why are you hoarding and protecting the truth from everybody else? Why? Who told you to police ideas? Right? Who told you to edit the truth? And what is your intention behind doing so? This is how you'll get down to the bottom of why racism exists. You created a race and then erased a culture for what reason?
It's a culture, but it's oh, go ahead.
Fear. I'm gonna tell you something. Let's just look at fear. Fear. If I believe you're not supposed to fear anything except God's wrath. Fear God. He said, "Don't fear anything except me." Now, any other kind of fear, like power. People are powerful. They want to be powerful because you want to control things. You want to control things. Why? Because you are fear of them not being in control. So you're fear of you see, it's once you start looking away from God, you're gonna think up all kind of stuff to protect you. If you can't, to me, bow down and give it up to God. He said, "Don't fear anything but me." So
Right.
once you fearing all this other little bullshit, you're gonna deal with what that bullshit has for you.
How do you get people to be aware of all this stuff that is driving them from inside that they're not even aware of, and then how do you get them to renounce it? And because it seems to me that people don't like a vacuum, and so you're gonna have to give them something real quick to replace it with.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Oh God, I love you so much, Doc, but you're forgetting something.
Okay, babyface.
People are stupid. Most people are stupid. Okay? Let's just be honest about it. You are not going to elevate as a group function, as a human function. You are not going to elevate the conscience of the masses to that level. What has to happen is that this movement has to play itself out. This lie can only last so long. It sounds like a long time. If you ask if you look at this from the standpoint of a slave in the 15 or 1600s who spent his lifetime and watched his mama's lifetime, and in his grandchildren's lifetime it doesn't happen, but that's a blink. This 2,000, 3,000 year lie has an expiration date, and we are going to see the end of it.
Well, you're saying you didn't. You're saying that it's going to perpetuate itself, but dude, it's information that's going to free them from it. I mean, so black people are stupid, but you say black people are stupid, but they're not stupid.
I didn't say black people.
What did you say? Who?
I said people.
Well, people.
If you watch
people
Duck
in general.
Dynasty, ain't no black folks on that show.
Okay, well, people in general are uninformed.
You know why? Because I'm gonna tell you something. It's easy to be stupid.
Yes,
it's comfortable to be stupid.
Yes, to not go look for information.
Hey, I don't have to
be
look.
lazy.
Well, I would read, but I
Fuck
can't.
all that.
Absolutely.
You know,
and that's why I've always said that black people need to make the law their religion, because this is where all your freedom is hidden in law. Like there's some people, black people use the word coon a lot, and they don't really know what the word coon means.
Speak on it.
Coon comes from the word barracoon, which means a prison for slaves. And so the coon in most people's lives is really their mind, because they don't go looking for information to free themselves. And so that's the real tragedy right there. So if you understand, like in law, we were talking about the police earlier, the word police comes from the word policy. And so they're policy enforcement. It's police-y. It's policy enforcement.
That's it.
And so if you don't understand that they're not here for, we were talking about class before, and you have the plebs and you have the slaves, or the middle class and the slaves. They're not here to protect and serve those people. They're here to keep you in control, keep you in line. They're here to protect and serve the upper class, the nobles of the society.
Commerce and what?
Commerce and
you made a statement about that a few months back that just bust me in the head, that the police are not here for you. They are here to preserve commerce.
That's exactly right.
They protect, they make sure.
That's right.
Each police officer is certified by the Department of Treasury, and this
certified by the Department of Treasury,
so they can give you tickets for money. It's about
to
cheese.
create.
That's why you sign a contract.
Yes.
When you sign your name on the ticket, that's
Exactly.
a contract, and now you're entering into contracts, which is commerce.
Well, you sign the contract when you get the driver's license. Driver is someone who was paid to take someone back and forth on the highway, and a passenger is someone who pays the driver. So when you get this driver's license, you're admitting that you're involved in commerce.
So to go back to this point, fucking racism, using the computer metaphor, is the GUI, the graphic user interface. This is the shit with the games and the apps on it.
Yes.
To keep you wasting your fucking time,
Exactly.
the browsers and shit.
Exactly.
But the shit on the CPU, the random access memory, the ROM, and all that other shit, and
CCI card,
all the motherboard and all that other shit, that's where the developers live.
That's where the shit is.
That's where Oz works. You fucking with the GUI, thinking this is a reality.
Yep.
This is what we mean by the Matrix. They want us to think in racial terms. This is why I say black people got to learn all the shit about themselves and then get over it.
Yes.
In order to master the universe, you got to get your history, learn all this shit, and then get over it.
Like I
so
was
you can
telling
move
Zoe
forward.
the other day about the sack of Baltimore. People, the riots in Baltimore that's been going on.
After this, I got a break, but go.
There's a real sack of Baltimore, was Baltimore, Ireland, where the Moors or Corsairs rolled up through the middle of the night and snatched the whole town of Baltimore and put them in slavery, put them in galleys, took them back, put them in the harems.
Where can they find this?
They can find this online. Just type in the sack of Baltimore.
That's a good piece of history.
Sack of, and they made plays about it. They got theme songs about it. And so if you understand, this is what used to happen, and this is where this deep-rooted fear that manifests itself as racism through white people today. And that's one of the things as well as the doctrine that they put out.
That's a good piece of history. We got to take a quick break. Before I leave, Negus Banks on Twitter says, developers live in the BIOS of the computer. The BIOS. You understand?
The living part
hit
of
that
it, yes.
hit the escape 5, F5. Your ass is in the BIOS
Right.
on the boot up. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds. I'll holler.
The next step was to send your stormtroopers, your missionaries, into Africa and the Caribbean to finish off the job, as it were. You know, these are heathens who have to be brought into the fold of Christianity. That notion of giving civilized values and modes of behavior to other peoples, that's the ideology that underpinned the empire.
In the empire that the missionaries and abolitionists set out to create, indigenous peoples would see their cultures destroyed and their religions eradicated. And yet all this seems almost benign when compared with the grim reality of what imperialism became. Because during the 19th century, their dream was gradually overwhelmed by another vision. One that claimed that the dark races could not be civilized and should instead be exterminated.
In 1976, Random House published a book that should have hit Christians like a storm, but instead, they chose to ignore it. It dealt with the racial origin of the people calling themselves Jews, and whom the churches and the Jews themselves generally insist are God's chosen people. Since the late 1800s, a number of Bible scholars who were also students of history have insisted the church denominations were wrong, that instead of being Israelites, these Jews from Eastern Europe descended from Mongolians that were actually Turkish people who had adopted Judaism as their religion over 1,000 years ago and had become known as Jews. These Bible scholars were ignored or condemned and often called cultists or anti-Semites. The 13th tribe proves beyond doubt that modern Jews are not biblical Israelites. Every church member in America should insist that their pastor investigate these claims. Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Motor Company, assembled a staff of experts to research the origin of European Jews who had been entering America in large numbers since the 1880s. Ford's research cost him several millions of dollars, and in 1923, he published the results in a 4-volume work titled The International Jew. it was Henry Ford's conclusion that the Jews were not descendants of the biblical Israelites. Ford further proved that these Jews committing all sorts of crimes while under the cover of being called chosen people of the Bible were rapidly taking economic and political control of America. Henry Ford also claimed that the Jews had secretly gained control of most Protestant seminaries and Christian book publishing houses and had been able to remove almost all criticism of Jews from Christian literature.
Well, it's me, I'm back again, here to talk about fear, pride, arrogance, narcissism, all that good stuff. So what is it that stops so many white people from wanting to change their hearts in regards to race and wanting to see the reality and come out of denial? What is it that keeps us stuck right there in that comfortable position of untruth? Well, I think part of it is fear. Another part of it is greed. Greed in that we don't want to lose dominance, we don't want to lose power, we don't want to lose privileges, we don't want to lose benefits that the system of white supremacy has created here in America for white people. We don't want to lose none of it. We're scared. We're scared of black retribution. We're scared of black vengeance. We're scared shitless, and we always have been. Since day one, we put our hands on black people. Grabbed them, snatched them up, put them on a boat, and made them our own fucking personal slaves and assistants for no pay. We did all that. You goddamn right, we're scared. We're scared of losing what we got. We're scared of losing our positions. And we're scared of retribution. So we got a lot of fucking fear, man. Yeah, we do.
Well, I'll tell you this. You cannot cheat an honest man. That man's going to have righteousness shined upon him because he is honest. He came right from his heart, and he told you how it felt. And if you spite him, I'm going to deal with you. Because that's my brother, man. If you can't see that, and what the hell's wrong with you?
Right there.
Travis? I beg to differ with you. I think that fat son of a bitch been out in the sun too long eating pork, eating lukewarm pork sandwiches with mayonnaise on them. Come up with an idea like white people, good, honest, hard-working white people, owe black folks a goddamn thing.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We already gave them what we owe them. We gave them a goddamn ride here.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I would like to know what the hell did you give him when you haven't given me the $5 you owe me. You ain't giving them nothing. See, you kicking up dust. Now, this man's trying to shake hands and kiss black babies and make everything all right. And hell, man, I just want to be able to go on the black side of town and get a good plate of barbecue and not get my ass whooped, man. That's all I'm asking.
Well, okay, I think you got
and he's opening a door, so let him open the door, man.
Listen here, I think you got me all wrong. All right? Now, I'm all for kissing black babies. I tell you why. Because I'm all for making some black babies. And you seen some of these black women? I'm just saying, there's no racism in my pants. I'm only racist up here. I'm not racist.
Oh, y'all do.
All right, Jesus. Travis Bickle and his cousin.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You coming to my studio this week.
So, listen. We're back after that shit right there. But, again, racism is at an all-time high, I believe. When I was a kid, it wasn't like this. It wasn't like every day something's happening in the news. I'm telling you right now. We just heard Zimmerman got shot in the face.
That's a shame.
That's on CNN. But you knew something like that was going to happen. I just feel like he's planted.
Yes.
And he's part of it.
He is.
He killed Trayvon. Somebody retaliated. Something happened. I don't know. But again, when you're a black and white thinker, you're nothing but a social domino, waiting to get pushed over to fall into the next person, to create a chain reaction. Listen, we got to be smarter. I know something is cracking right now. If y'all don't see what's going on in the world, Trust me, it's gonna creep up on your ass and bite you in the ass.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
The man, the Constitution, all of this shit is out the window.
That shit, the Trans-Pacific Partnership will do away with the Constitution. Everybody, Obama is pushing it like crazy, and everybody is against him.
Watch your mouth.
Hold on. You know what? One thing I want to say. One thing
about our black president.
Yeah, he's black.
Fucking thing.
Yeah,
okay?
he's black. Look that up in the Black's Law Dictionary.
I was smoking some trees the other day, and I thought of this.
You mean this morning?
Yeah, this morning.
The other day.
See, I blow trees. I don't kiss my ass if you don't like it. I'm sorry for you.
Hey,
You
I ain't mad at you.
don't judge me.
I'm not.
Just pass that blunt.
Anyway. Said, kiss my ass.
No, but listen, we are so bent on the country, my country, and your country, and this country, and my government, and this government. To me, I really feel that the whole illusion that we are living in, that this is my country, and we're having a problem with that country, that's like a smoke screen. Because right now, who's dominating this world and who's perpetuating racism and who's taking away all these liberties? It's corporations. And corporations reach beyond the bounds of countries. So while you're sitting up here thinking that your country is this and my country is that, we're both getting played by corporations.
That's what
corporations are the new government.
That's what the Trans-Pacific Partnership is.
Yes.
It literally will do away with governments and create a world corporate government.
This is why some people are fighting it, because it kills sovereignty.
Kills it, destroys it.
A government, first off, a corporation is bound legally by the bottom line.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck if 1,000 babies get killed every day. We got to protect the fucking bottom line.
By law.
So guess what? If I'm not allowed into your country and you signed off on the TTP,
I can sue you.
I can sue your country because you fucking with my money.
Yep.
Because I can't sell to that audience in your country. I'm telling you right now. Listen, patriotism is religion. Here's what people don't understand.
The shit they sell you.
Patriotism is religion.
Yep.
Patriotism with the different parties. Oh, yeah, they'll give you the illusion that there's a third party to independence, but them niggas never win.
Thank you.
I don't give a fuck how good the candidate is. It's always Democrat
and
Republican. So what is Democrat, Republican? That's black and white, red and blue, right and wrong. It's black and white thinking. Let's go with the Democratic Party. Shut your dumb ass participating in the game ass up. Because all you're doing is buying time that you can't afford. This is, man. Veronica, can you just wrap us real quick before we get to our spot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're having this conversation, Joe. I think it's a really important conversation. I think that we are at, I've studied revolutionary theory, and one of the things that they talk about in terms of revolutions is that there's always an inciting incident, right? There's an event or a series of events that really tips the balance. I think that Ferguson was that. I think that Baltimore continues to be that. And I think that right now we have a really profound opportunity to right a whole bunch of wrongs. My friend George Frazier says, people don't change when they see the light. They change when they feel the heat. And so this is actually our moment. This is our moment to create, I think, some pretty radical change here.
Well, there it is. We're going to go right into the final thought. Yeah, today's show was crazy. Listen, I'm going to make this real simple, real clear. Racism, like religion, like history, are part of the same tentacles. Do we have that picture of the eugenics? Can you pull that shit up for me real quick? And then I want you guys to go out and do the research and find this picture yourself and study it very carefully. Because at the bottom of the eugenics tree, you'll see all of the tools and mechanisms by which to affect this shit on society. Do you have it or no? Because it's taking a long time. I want to get to my point. All right. And the hourglass is, there it is. So, looking at this, down at the bottom on the left side, you'll see one of the roots is labeled history. What the fuck eugenics got to do with history? They giving history an abortion. Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying? They pimping the knowledge at the highest level. Psychiatry is on that motherfucker. Education is on that motherfucker. Anything that we operate in. And this is why I'm so hard on black people talking about the way to get it done. The way to get it done is to create your own fucking tree with its own roots that you are the author of. You niggas don't want to author shit. Niggas want to follow rules. The last poet said it. Niggas is scared of revolution. Right? What is revolution? Revolution ain't always violent. Revolution is ideological. When you revolt against what master said was good for you, that's revolution. That's rebellion. When you revolt against, hey, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the book of Revelations tells me that Jesus burnt brass, feet like burnt brass, water like a voice like many waters? That's raspy to us black people, raspy black voice, right? Curly, nappy hair like a lamb's wool. But then we're going to put Cesare Borgia and his sister Lucrezia. We're going to paint them, Michelangelo and Da Vinci and all. We're going to paint all of this. Come on. Come on. And niggas is blind and follow. Well, it don't matter. When I hear nigga, it don't matter. It don't. Yes, it do. Shit. Right. It mattered to Ike Turner when they took Ike's records and had white people sing them. Yes. It mattered to black artists, Cadillac Records. Hey, where's my picture on the album cover? No, nigga. You don't get on the album cover. You just sang the song. It mattered to the 5 heartbeats, right? So my point is, racism is a tool to keep a certain populace blind. And when we say certain, that's anybody with melanin. So guess what I got to do? I can't just put enmity between you and me, white and black. I got to put enmity between black and red, black and yellow, black and brown. I got to keep putting enmity between all of this because listen, the enmity between black and white, that's the distraction. The real racism is the enmity between your family tribe members. Polynesians don't want to call themselves Africa. Well, how the fuck did you get to Samoa? How did you even get to that goddamn island? This is my final thought. Shit. Jesus. Right? How did you get there? This is what people don't understand. A nigga who's been taught civilization by a beast is nothing but an animal who's been trained to become a social mercenary. That's what you are. You will kill your own, you'll eat your own, so your plateau in this false reality is secured for the moment. You understand? That's what they've trained us to be. Right? Race is a game, and you've been programmed to play it unconsciously. You understand? The real game is class. Motherfucker, you can't. Hey, that game right there. That's the luxury monopoly board. Thank you. You got the race monopoly board, the little bootleg one, right? with all the same colors that they used to be, little plastic pieces. You understand? Class is the real Monopoly game. That's the special edition for your ass. All of us black people or people of color, look at what they do to the countries that are really black, but what they put out front. Go to Argentina. Go to Chile. Oh, every time there's a beauty pageant or some type of modeling event, they go and get the European look. But when you go to the country, you see the indigenous black there, right? Oh, go to Brazil. They present a light-skinned version. Oh, go to the Philippines. Oh, all them dark-skinned Filipinos there, right? They'll present the Manny Pacquiaos, the light-skinned, mixed, whitened up versions, because they don't want you to see the real occupants of that country. I'm telling you, racism is a game that keeps you disempowered via disorganization. If you ever got together, what the fuck they gonna do against 6-7 billion people? Pissed, organized. What they gonna do? Kill a few million of us at a time? They gonna have to fuck the whole world up to stop us. Yeah, but I'm gonna make you believe in where you come from, as if that's your fucking nationality. Nigga, I'm Pakistani. No, nigga, you's a nigga. You worship the Nagas. The Cobra.
Wait. What you are calling me? What?
Yes. Yeah. But they don't understand. If I bind your mind, I've bound your time. Do you understand that? I'm just saying, if I bound your mind, I've bound your time.
Woo.
Woo. This is why I do these shows. I want to push you to go get the books. I want to push you to support your people. I don't want to. Ain't no more racists. If racism don't exist, the white man is good. It's good white people. I'm afraid of black people. You afraid of black people because you're afraid to embrace a motherfucker that's hurt. You ain't got the skills, so you run from him. Not knowing you really running from yourself. Your help. Your support. Listen, I need motherfuckers to support me, goddammit. I ain't gonna lie to you. This book is about to come out. I want people to support my relationship roundtable. I want people to go to my website, get this coaching. I'm coaching a lot of people now, and I'm really excited and appreciative to the universe for providing people to me that need help and that respect me, and I'm glad I can help them. Where's my placard? If you guys can put up the placard.
He just be saying stuff I said.
I just wish people can support and go there and support this show, support this movement. I'm doing a relationship dismount. I've been showing, during the show, I've been showing my book cover to everybody here, and they've been bugging. You know, it's going to be fresh when we drop it. It's about to be incredible. We're getting ready to go to print. But I want to come to your city, and I want to heal your hearts. That's what this book is about. I want to heal your hearts. I want to heal your relationships, because I believe if we heal black relationships first, then we can get to organization, then we can get to supporting each other, then we can get to all these other things. So go there, support that, and really quickly, where can they find you?
YouTube, online, video classroom, Real Nagas, REELNAGAS, or the
Booty Boxing?
Booty Boxing Home System. That's udemy.com, udemy.com/bootyboxing, and the promo code is bootyboxing and the number 0.
And Doc?
Yeah, at Mark Goulston. That's Twitter me, at Mark Goulston, MarkGoulston. Or check out my book. It's on special on Kindle now. Just listen. Check it out at Amazon.
If you enjoyed the country dudes, if you enjoyed the British dudes, then stand by. The Old Heads are coming at you. The Old Heads comedy album with hip-hop and funny-ass sketches, and whether he likes it or not, I don't give a goddamn. If I got to kidnap his dog, Zoe Williams is one of the Old Heads.
Okay. Yo, Freez Luv, FREEZLUV. Yep, one of the old heads, brother. I'm gonna be at the Chicago Improv from the 14th through the 17th. So please come check me out. I need you to come through and laugh hard. You know how I do it. Come through and download my free app, Freez Luv.
There it is. I'll be back next week with another heater. I appreciate you. Go to that PayPal link and support the Relationship Dismount book tour. We'll be back next week. Deuces.
Covers all.